Okay, welcome to another edition of the MMA Huddle podcast with Will, myself, and John over in the Isle of Man. Back for another week, back to break down some fights coming off UFC 221. As always, come and subscribe to us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to us on YouTube, where we're there all the time. And I think we hit 100 subscribers as well, which is awesome.
We did, yes.
So let's try and keep it going, and maybe by the end of the year we can maybe close to 200. That can be a goal we can maybe set ourselves. But coming off 221, where we've seen Yoel take out Luke, so very happy about that. He won me.
I love you, Luke. I love you.
I want to love you. I love you like a brother. So that was that. I really enjoyed UFC 221. It was a bit of a slog getting through it, but good card. Where did the UFC go now in the middleweight division? I'm seeing people saying Jacare and Romero until Robert comes back. I think you have to make the rematch. I think personally myself, I thought it was just a typical Yoel Romero performance. He really started off slow like he usually does. Kind of started in round 2 with a flurry, a couple of flurries, won that round, and then third round threw the punch to the knee and then went up high and took Rockhold out. So for me, I'd like to see him face Robert Whittaker. I really enjoyed the first fight. I thought it was a great fight. What about you? Are you for Rockhold Romero too? Romero, Whittaker and Romero.
Romero, Whittaker. I am for that. I know that Whittaker, in my opinion, masterful bout against Romero, like just outclassed him in that fight, but it's the only one to make. You know, it really is. Like you say, I think Rockhold, he's got really good fight IQ, which people don't. Like, if you watch the fight back in the first 2 rounds, Romero's going into 1-2, which is like a jab straight, and he almost was getting him. But if you look at that combination that finished Rockhold, it was a double jab. Now that second jab, he steps in to then set up the left, southpaw, to land cleanly, and that's what messed up Rockhold. He threw him off sync. Beautiful finish that was. And then obviously the uppercut from hell. But I 100% think I'll do the rematch, because I think Romero would fight a different fight. I think he wouldn't go for takedowns as much after learning that Rockhold legitimately has a very good takedown defense and pops up easily. I don't think he'll expel all that energy trying to get him down this time. I think he'll be happy just to stand up with him, because I think he'll feel that his power that he can come out with could finish Rockhold, because Romero's not easy to finish. Let's put it that way. It's not like people are dropping him left, right, and centre. He's got no neck.
Yeah, he's one of those fighters I love watching. Romero, he's one of my favourite ones to actually watch, because literally he could be doing nothing. He could be lulling you into a sense of false security, and then out of nowhere he's caught you with something, and you're out. And that follow-up shot that he hit Rockhold with, I was like, holy shit! I thought that head was coming through the cage. It was like an incredible finish. I really enjoyed seeing it. Like you say, he won me a lot of money, so I was really happy. I'm with you. You make Whittaker versus Romero. I think it's Jacare against Weidman.
Yes.
The winner. That's the way you go. Rockhold, I think.
He got punched up to 205. He did.
Yeah, and that's like going up to 205 is not a good thing either, with the way his chin is.
Well, I don't know, because I think partly the reason why the chin wasn't that great is because that cut to 185. Like that dehydration on the body. You saw him at the Megan O'Leary interview after the weigh-ins. He looked like death. He looked awful. Like, he is a shredded man at 205, people. Like, obviously he doesn't walk around. When he walks around, he is a cut dude. He's in great shape. To drop another 20, I reckon he'll be a lot healthier, a lot stronger, and, you know, that water, the brain, everything's hydrated a lot more. I think have a bit of time off, and I think he'll be a great addition to 205. I think he'll mess a lot of people up in that division, because he's going to be quick. He'll be quicker as well.
It's good fights to make for him up there as well, and being a former champion, he instantly pretty much puts himself in the top 6 or 7 in that division. He probably gets a tune-up fight where a guy that's maybe number 10, and then I think a fight like him against Gustafsson would be a great fight. I think it would be an awesome fight.
100% agree.
Yeah, I think he has to go to 205, and then I just hope Whittaker's back soon. I hope that, because the middleweight division's been kind of up and down for the last maybe 2 years.
Needs stability. Needs a bit of consistency.
We need a bit of stability in that division. I think that the right champion is Robert Whittaker, but we just need to get him back healthy. So, coming off that, we're moving on to UFC Fight Night 126 from Austin, Texas, with our main event being the Cowboy against Yancy Mederios. A really fun looking fight, one I'm struggling with personally. But as always, we're going to start at the bottom, work our way up to the top, and we're starting off in the middleweight division with a former Cage Warriors middleweight champion, Oscar Pichota, against Tim Williams. Now, I'll let you lead off with this. Where do you see this fight going, and who do you see winning?
Oscar is a guy who, like you say, former Cage Warriors champ, sadly didn't get defender's belt in Cage Warriors, literally got signed up, had a championship fight, knocked out the dude, and then got signed up to the UFC, albeit made a lot of sense because of where they were going to in Europe and local guy pull. This Oscar is a sleeper of a middleweight. He is going to be the sleeper in this whole division. Like, he is so well rounded. He's got a good powerful strike. He's got very good grappling. I think he's a very, very strong grappler. I think Tim Williams as well. I like Tim Williams as a grappler too. But I think this is where Williams might get caught out. Now, Williams loves his striking in with his straight shots, his 1-2s. Very, very kind of I don't want to say basic. Very good fundamentals is the best way to put it. I think Oscar, though, because he likes to do his counter striking, I think this is where Oscar might try to let or lull Tim into a bit of a kind of strike fest where he'll try to get him to come and bait him in for a few shots to kind of counter him with that left hook, which is always very good of Oscar's. But I feel that Oscar should get the upper hand in this fight. I feel like he's a bigger, stronger guy and should really get the. I got a feeling that Oscar probably might get a submission here because Tim likes to get the grappling involved, but I think Oscar's kind of submission game stronger. So I'm going to go with Oscar submission. Let's go wild and do that. Yeah.
I totally forgot about this fight until I looked at the card, and I was actually wondering when we're going to see Pichota again. And I was really impressed with his debut. There was nothing that really stood out, but he was very, very solid in every kind of facet of the game.
Yeah.
And this is kind of how I see this fight going. Now, Tim Williams is the guy we've seen a few years ago in The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
Grinder. Guy's pretty much a grinder of a fighter. Doesn't really stand out in anything, but is fairly decent in everything, to say the least. He's got a good cardio. He can go. He can make it dirty. That's how I think he's going to win a trend of this year. I think he's going to want to try and put Oscar against the cage, try and work for takedowns. But I think Oscar is going to show that he is literally better in every facet of the game. I think he is better. I think he's decent on his feet. I think his jiu-jitsu. He's a black belt under Robert Drysdale. I think Tim Williams is a black belt as well, if I'm not mistaken. But I think that Oscar can out-wrestle the wrestler. I think he can take Tim Williams down. And we've seen that Tim Williams can be submitted. Diego Lima caught him in the show. He's a good guy in the ground. I think Pichota he's going to be one of those really, within the next year, he's going to be a solid fighter, kind of like your Christoph Giotto.
Yeah, exactly.
Not many people are going to know about him, but this guy's going to win fights that people don't expect him to. So I'm going to go with a decision, but I think you're not far off picking a submission. I think he could submit this guy, but I'm going to go a decision. So moving on, welterweight division with Alex Morono against Josh Buckman, and I literally didn't find out about this fight until literally 5 minutes ago, probably before they come on. So it's a fight that was made within the last week. But just going off my initial kind of instincts of it, this is a fight for Alex Morono to win. Josh Buckman, I didn't think he was still with UFC.
I thought he'd retired. I thought he was gone.
I think he did retire, did he not?
I could have sworn he did, honestly. I couldn't believe it. I was like, hang on a minute. Berkman's still fighting. He got smashed. Really
surprised. He's on a 4-fight skid. Paul Felder, Zach Otto, Michel Pizares, Drew Dober, and he's been stopped in his last 2, which usually, when I look at it, it's that's the decline where you have to keep an eye on fighters. And I think that Alex Morono, although he's not the most kind of technical fighter, he slings punches.
Yeah.
And I think one of those punches could catch the end of the chin of Josh Buckman, and that should be him in the UFC. But Buckman, I mean, he's a veteran. He's been around a long time. He can make it close. He can make it tight. I just think that if Morono starts swinging punches, I think something's going to catch Buckman and put him down. So I'll go with a Morono TKO at some point in the fight. But like you say, 5 minutes ago I didn't know about this fight. So
I think I'm with you. I think that Berkman, man, that cut to 155, I think really didn't do him any favours later on in his career. And if he's only won one fight in the UFC since his comeback against KJ Noons, and you think, well, what happened to KJ Noons? Do you know, it's so you sit there and go, well, he had one wishy-washy win against the guy who didn't do anything anyway himself. I Josh hasn't done anything since he really came back to warrant the respect that he should be getting. But I just feel that it's the name more than the performance that is keeping him in. Against Alex, who himself is not like you say, he's not a very fundamental striker. But this is what the worst thing is: when you fight someone who throws 1-2 left hook, you know what a 1-2 left hook looks like. Alex, like you say, he'll just start to throw a couple of wilder shots, a little bit of swinging over the top, swings with his arms, and like his hooks are kind of swinging, almost like a clubbing effect. That could catch Berkman out, because Berkman will be preparing for a traditional, like you just naturally when you train, ladies and gentlemen, when you train in martial arts, you train for the kind of fundamental strikes. You don't train for the offset strikes. Like you say, that could catch Berkman. If Berkman's circling around the cage, Alex can back him up and just start swinging. Berkman will need to grab him and get him down and try to keep on top of him for your rounds. But I think Alex could have a very good chance here getting the win and getting the finish as well.
So moving on to the main fight of the UFC Fight Pass prelims. As of now, might change up because it looks like there's a fight coming off the main card. But we have Steven Peterson making his UFC debut against the guy who fought 3 weeks ago at UFC 220 in Brandon Davis. How do you see this one going down?
I like this matchup because Brendan Davis, I know he's just fought. Sorry, I have a quick sip here. Sorry, folks. Oof, bit of peppermint tea. That's better. Yeah, Brendan Davis, like I say, just fought, so he's not off his peak. It's not like he's just not been. He's been training, and then all of a sudden he's just jumped in. He's just had a fight, so he's already got that kind of fitness levels that needs to be there to fight for 3 rounds. So I quite like the fact that even though he said he had the injury, which you mentioned before, about the hip injury, which I reckon a good old cortisone injection has popped into there, and that's why he feels probably like fucking Superman right now. But again, he's fighting a guy, Steven Peterson, who has been around the circuit. He's done his time. Steven Peterson isn't like a guy who's going to blow you away. He's just a guy who kind of earned his stripes to get in the UFC. Does that make a lot of sense, people? But he's a good, well-rounded veteran of the sport, and this is where the opportunity pops in for Peterson to use his advantage and his knowledge over time to beat Brendan Davis. And if Davis has got that hip injury, if I'm a fighter, I'm probably going to go for the grappling, double leg, single leg kind of grappling game. I'm going to try and really agitate that hip, make him use his hips as much as possible to try and kind of see if it is an injury, see how much power that guy has got. Because when you've got to defend a double leg and a single leg, you've got to use a lot of hip action. That's a lot of your pelvis and your hips working. I would try to see how strong or how weak that hip is. So I'll probably go for Peterson, because I don't know, like you say, mate, I don't know if he has had a cortisone injection. I don't know if he is actually fit. But if you say you got an injury, then fight 3 weeks later, you got to drop all that weight. How's that body going to heal up?
Yeah, it's a big red flag to me. When this fight was made, because Humberto Bandone was supposed to fight Peterson, and that was a matchup I really liked. I like Bandone. He's an exciting fighter. He's very aggressive. Brandon Davis, he lost that close. When you watch back that fight with Kyle Bochniak at 220, that was a close fight. If that was anywhere in America, anywhere else outside of Boston, he may have got the decision in that one.
Yeah.
I just think Steven Peterson he's really aggressive at getting takedowns, and I don't like the fact that, like, there was a friend of mine that asked him on Twitter, he's like, how's the injury? And he was like, what injury? And he was going on about the hip injury, and then he says, it's good enough. That to me is like, there's still something there, and there's still something underlying, and it's not going to be fixed in 3 weeks. To me, I can't pick a fighter that's injured. Now I know probably most of these fighters actually will probably go into this fight with bumps and bruises and scratches and strains or whatever. But I think that Peterson's relentless with the takedowns, and I think that Davis will want to keep this on the feet, because Bochniak did take him down, but I think that Peterson is the more... When I look at Bochniak and Peterson, I think Peterson is more aggressive getting the takedowns. I thought he was really unlucky. Like, Peterson's not great. I don't think he's all that good. But he appeared on the Dana White show, and I thought he lost a very, very close split decision to Benito Lopez. I thought he could have easily got the victory in that one there. But he's one of those guys that's come off the show. He's looked okay. He's from Texas. The UFC are going to Texas. It makes sense to put this guy on there if you want to fill up the card in some way. So I'm going to go Peterson, but honestly, I'm not overly confident in the pick, but I think he has enough to get it done. So moving on to the prelims, the televised prelims in the women's bantamweight division, we have Sarah Morris against Lucy Pudilova, and this is the fight actually that's kind of garnered my interest probably since I started watching the fights this morning. It wasn't something beforehand I had an eye on, but this could be a really fun fight. I watched the Lucy against Landsberg fight. I don't think she should have lost that fight. I thought she should have won.
Oh, she beat Landsberg in that fight. Oh, yeah.
She beat the utter piss out of Landsberg in that fight.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
And she put a beating on, like a really bad beating on her. How she never got that decision, I've no idea. Sarah Morris, I don't think she's overly good. I think she's a nasty bitch when it hits the ground. It's the girl that she will rip. She will rip your arm out of the socket if she gets the opportunity. She's got those big old hips on her. She's and once she gets that and she gets the taut to pull on those limbs, she will rip it off like she did with Ashley Evans Smith. But the thing is here, does she get it to the ground? And on her feet, I think she's just a very hittable target. I think Pudilova, she's not great, but she throws a lot of output. She's in your face and she keeps going. She doesn't stop for 15 minutes. Morris has to get this to the ground. If she doesn't get to the ground, I think Pudilova beats her up for 15 minutes straight. I'm more confident in Lucy Pudilova, but if this hits the ground, watch out because Morris is going to grab something and take something home with her like she usually does. But I'm going to go Pudilova via decision.
Yeah, I think, like you say, Cheesecake is on her back. She is a savage. Like, I would not want to be in her guard. She is legit a pain in the ass. She's so active on the ground as well. So it's not like you get a moment's rest to try and get something done. She is relentless. Absolutely horrible on the ground to deal with. But Pudilova, she will light you up on your feet. She is a monster on the feet. And it is simple, almost like striker grappler kind of essence again coming here. But we don't know how much Sarah's been doing in the background with her striking. It doesn't, like, it's MMA, you know, she's had enough time to do a lot more with her striking. She could have easily known that she's coming up against Pudilova and worked a lot on head movement. She could have easily done a lot of work on integrating her head movement to a double, shooting for a double leg or single leg to evade the strikes, which would be something I think, because she is shorter, I think she'll be able to get in there a bit more to double legs. That's what I'd be doing if I was her. I know when my bread and butter is on the ground, I'd be, letting Pudilova come a bit closer to those strikes, land a couple, and then like a couple of jabs, then just bait her in, and shoot under the strikes to get the takedown. Gosh, it's hard though. That's what I would do tactically, and I would have drilled that with Sarah, but I don't know if it can pass, so I'll go with Pudilova, because I think when you get hit a few times, it really puts you off going in for the takedown, and I'm worried that might happen with Sarah on the feet. She might get a bit disparaged and just not have the confidence to shoot in early. If Pudilova can just stop that and snap it out with it, just keep her on the long straight shots just to put her off. So I go with Pudilova.
Yeah, I'm just looking at her record now. She's only lost to really good fighters.
Oh yeah, she's great. Yeah.
I mean, Juliana Pena, Jessica Andrade, and Raquel Pennington. Raquel's probably going to be fighting for a belt next. Yeah. Jessica Andrade has fought for a belt, who might fight for a belt in the future. So, no, it's a solid fight. I'm actually kind of looking forward to that when kind of more the fight gets closer. So, moving down to the flyweight division, we have Roberto Sanchez against Joby Sanchez. So, which Sanchez are you picking?
I'm definitely picking the other Sanchez, that Sanchez. That totes my favourite Sanchez. That Sanchez. I think this is going to be like, it's awkward. Two Sanchez's, how awkward is that for a commentary? You've got to be Roberto and Jacoby, obviously. But I tell you one thing, Jacoby's. He's not bad. Don't get me wrong. Okay, I like Jacoby Sanchez. I think he is a good fighter, but he is exposed on the ground. Like, that fight on the Ultimate Fighter against is it Pies or something like that? Was it Pies? Whatever, it's a South African kid that he fought. Yeah. I know he won with ground and pound in the end on top of the dude, but in the first round he was owned. He got owned on the ground. Like, he did not have a clue, and he's fighting a dude in Roberto Sanchez who likes to get guys down and just beat the shit out of on the ground from his top. So this is almost a game where Jacoby Sanchez, it's awkward because Jacoby Sanchez can hurt Roberto Sanchez on the feet, because Roberto is hittable. He doesn't take a punch. I don't think he takes a punch too well, because in his last fight he got hit and he just bounced off the mat with it. So I don't know how well Roberto can take a hit, but if he can get Jacoby down, man, Jacoby's in for a nightmare. I reckon you can see 3 rounds of Roberto getting Jacoby down and just getting that decision, just breaking him, you know, with that wrestling. Because I don't think Roberto's going to tire out like Baez did, and I think Roberto could just keep that pace on, keep that kind of grind him out, like he does stay active enough so the referee won't stand him up. He does throw enough ground and pound, so I'm going to go with decision win for Roberto on this one, because I just feel that Jacoby's a bit exposed on the feet for the grappling side.
Yeah, I think this fight's going to be close. I think it's got a split decision written all over it. I see Joby winning a round. I see Sanchez winning a round. I think that Sanchez is obviously going to be pursuing takedowns and very, very quickly, like he did in the Joseph Morales fight.
Yeah.
He took Morales down, he held him there, but once he got back to his feet, he got hit with that stink 1-2 shot and went down. So he knows where he wants to have this fight and where he needs to have it. I think if this stays on the feet, Joby can piece him up a little bit. He's got a little bit more experience. He's had the UFC experience before. Coming from Jackson Winks, who are on pretty much a bad little run at the minute. They're losing a lot of fights out of that gym.
Yeah.
So confidence, I can't expect to be overly too high, but I think this has got a split decision written all over it. I think that Roberto's going to want to. He has to pursue takedowns, but he has to set them up. He can't. No. He has to set them up with his strikes. If he doesn't set them up with his strikes, then Joby Sanchez is going to stop him from taking him down, and he's going to probably piece him up a little bit. I think if Roberto can get him against the cage, then he can drop down for single legs, and then control him from there. Whether he can keep him there for the majority of the rounds, another thing. I think he can. It's close to me. It's like a coin flip fight. I'm going to go with Roberto over Joby. I think that his grappling will just be enough. But I think this has got a split decision written all over it. So, welterweight division, Brian Camozzi against Jeffrey Neal. This is a fight that I'm pretty strong and high on one guy. I think that Brian Camozzi's back is against the wall. He needs a win big time. I don't think he's looked good in the UFC at all. I think it's a 7-4 record. I think one of the reasons he got the early shot in the UFC because his brother was in the UFC. I like what I see from Jeffrey Neal. I liked what I saw in the Dana White show. He did get taken down, got worked to get back to his feet, and then sniped the guy within the next 30 seconds to get him back to his feet with a couple of big shots. That was at middleweight. He's dropping back down to his natural weight there. I watched the fight with Kevin Holland where he lost. He got taken out in the third round. But he was clearly winning the first 2 rounds. I mean, Kevin Holland is known as a flashy kind of guy. He throws a lot of flashy strikes, talks a lot of shit. But Jeff Neal, I thought, was winning the fight until he got caught, and that happens in the sport. It's just the way it is. Brian Camozzi, the only thing he's got going in this one is he's got reach, but he backs up too much. But his back is against the wall here. Where if he doesn't produce the goods, the UFC are going to cut him. I like Jeff Neal. I think he's going to find the chin. He's going to knock him out inside the first 2 rounds.
100% agree with you. I just don't know what Brian Camozzi has ever shown so far to make anyone think he's going to win this fight. He's not done anything. He's got stopped twice so far, and I'm like, how have you got a chin? Is my question. Is like, can you actually take a hit? Because Jeff's going to hit you.
Yeah.
He is going to land. Because like you say, he's got that reach, but he doesn't manage his reach. He's not got very good manager. He doesn't manage his reach, which is strange because his brother, you would think, would have nailed that into him a while ago. Because to be fair, Chris Camozzi is very good at managing his range and his reach, and he's very good at controlling distance. But Brian just can't do it. He just flaps around and man, I can see him getting stopped here, easy and cut. It's going to be, like say, first, second round, done, cut, bye-bye Camozzi, and off he goes to join Glory with his brother or something. I don't know what the heck he's going to do, but yeah, he's out of here. Yeah,
he's dangerous. He's long though, but if you have to watch him in the clinch. I do think he throws decent knees in the clinch, and he's got those long, gangly legs. So if you initiate him in his guard, he could catch you with a triangle or so.
Yeah.
I just don't see. I think Jeffrey Neal's going to bulldoze right through him and stop him. I think he's just a better fighter overall. Yeah. So. Going on to the lead fight of the prelims, we have Jared Gordon, who's been really impressive in his UFC tenure so far, against the returning Carlos Dega Ferreira, who's back after his Saru ban, but is a really talented fighter. This is a really good fight. How do you see this one going?
I am so happy that Diego's back because, like you say, the dude is such a fun. I know he got popped, right? Okay, fine, right. Slap on the wrist, naughty boy. Been out 2 years since his last scrap. All right, so I think we could all agree he's served his time. He's had 2 years. He's got a bad fight to come back to, man. Like that is Gerard Jordan is no pushover. This dude, he reminds me of Burgos a little bit because he just goes forward. Like that's all he has. He's like, right, I'm just going to come forward and just keep. He has such an output, just a constant output to grind. And he gets hit though, Gordon. Don't get me wrong, he'll take a hit, but it doesn't stop him coming forward. He's got such a kind of aggressive, kind of walk you down style that Diego is going to be 2 years out of the game on his back foot. And that is exhausting. So if you've not been fighting for 2 years, then you've got to come back and be on your back foot for 3 rounds potentially. That is hard work, people. That is exhausting. But to be fair, Diego is an absolute monster, and I think that he could legitimately catch. I think he could catch Gordon absolutely. I just don't know how much. I don't know how good he's going to be, though, and what I mean by that is I don't know if he's going to be able to have that reaction time and everything coming into this fight. I don't know how his body's reacting as well, post you started, clean, being, clean for so long. But yeah, it's going to be a good fight, man. I'm going to go with Jordan just because I think he's an absolute savage, and I think there's something about the kid where I think he could get a decision win on this one. Just because I think he's just a relentless kind of fighter. I think he's just a horrible fight. He's a horrible fight to have.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Carlos de Oliveira. I really liked him when he initially made his way into the UFC. I thought he beat not the greatest fighters you're ever going to see in Colton Smith and Ramsey in the gym. Then he moved up that level to Benny Dariush and Dustin Poirier, and that's a big step up going from Colton Smith and Ramsey in the gym to those two guys. Those two guys are legit top 10 guys in the UFC lightweight division. So, and then he beat Aubin Mercy, who I think is a big talent. So
yes,
yeah, it's a really tough fight to come back to. Jared Gordon has just got that pace and pressure that just breaks fighters within minutes. And once he has you, he's just going to keep going until he finishes you, or he will. Like I thought, that fight in Brazil should have been stopped. I thought that he had the referee could have stepped in there and saved Hakran Diaz a little bit from taking a beating.
Because he just got beat down. That's the thing. Because Jordan wasn't throwing like 100 punches at once, but he was throwing 100 punches over a minute. So it was just it was like a slow drip feed of punches, and I was like, he's not doing anything. Diaz is done. Everyone, you saw like he was in the corner. You could see he was spent.
Yeah.
Oh, brutal. That was.
Yeah, he wilted under the pressure. Carlos de Oliveira, I don't think he'll wilt under the pressure. I think he's a gamer. I think he will stick around. He will try. Gordon will look to. I think he will get takedowns, but he has to be very dangerous when he's down there with Diego Ferreira because he's nasty down on the ground. I've watched some of his jiu-jitsu matches, and he is very good down there. I just think that pace and pressure coming back to that after 2 years off, that's horrible. And like Jared Gordon, the guy that he's had problems with alcohol and drugs, I think. So this guy has been on the edge of kind of losing his life and losing everything, and now he's moving forward. He's being positive, and he's got that type of fighting style that nobody really wants to fight because he can beat that ass for 15 minutes solid, and it's just a tough fight to come back to. Carlos de Oliveira is very dangerous, but I like Jared Gordon to just kind of run him out here and just really light him up.
It's a horrible fight to have, mate, because going back is just exhausting. Yeah,
it is. Moving on to the main card, we have Super Sage Northcutt against Thibault Gouti. Is it you to lead off or me to lead off? I don't know.
You, because I just did.
You just did
Forever Gone, yeah.
So, I like this matchup for Sage Northcutt. Now, I'm not the biggest Sage Northcutt guy. I think that there's many fights coming up that he's going to lose. I picked Michel Quinones last time against him, but you've seen clear Sage Northcutt got better since he went to Team Alpha Male. That was clear to see. He was a lot more patient. He countered very, very well. Anytime that Quinones was throwing those leg kicks, he was countering with big shots, and he was more aggressive which I liked. And I think if he's aggressive against these type of guys, he can stop these type of guys. He's been out there at Team Alpha Male again. I think he's moved out there permanently, so he's training in there with killers. And they're on a great streak of wins at the minute as well, with Josh Emmett and Andre Fili and Darren Elkin. So I like what I'm seeing from Sage Northcutt. I think this is like another one of these matchups, set-up matchups. Tai Tuivasa last week, Polyana Viana the week before. It's one of those fights to set you up to kind of move you forward. And Thibault Gouti, I don't really see that much from him that's going to trouble Sage Northcutt too much. Coming from Jackson Winkle-Jones, he beat the kind of worst fighter probably in Andrew Holbrook that the UFC maybe had. He's literally got no chin. He took him out very quickly. Before that, he had 3 losses, and he got subbed inside like 25 seconds by Timo Packalén. I think the speed, the power of Sage Northcutt eventually is going to catch him with something, and he's going to put him down. I think he's going to TKO him. And when you beat Thibault Gouti, you usually stop him. That's what's happened in these UFC fights, I should say. I like this, and plus it's in Texas. The UFC know what they're doing with this matchup, and Sage Northcutt, the guy I really, really like to win this weekend.
Yeah, I 100% see Sage first round. I see it first round, if I'm brutally honest with you. I think Gouti, he is too slow. I think he's actually surprisingly quite a slow striker. When you watch his fights, he's not fast with his striking. And the problem is Sage with his counter strikes, he has like a set blitz. If you watch his fights, he will counter, not with one punch. He'll like, for example, you'll throw a counter, he'll throw your strike, and he'll come back with like a right straight, left hook, right straight, or some like a 3-punch combo, and he just rips it like that. Gouti ain't gonna be ready for it, and it's gonna really hurt him. I think you won't see the Northcutt of, like you say, he's mature and he's not under the tutelage of Faber, where they're saying you don't need to go in there and do fancy spinny stuff, which has a very low percentage finishing rate. On the regional scene, it goes up, but on a higher level, dudes know what they have to do to avoid that. They just take a step back and you miss and hit thin air. It's not going to happen. It's very rare you'll land it. Like Paige Van Zandt did against Beck Rawlins, but that's Beck Rawlins, do you know what I mean? Anyone's probably going to land it against Beck Rawlins. But it's very rare you get those kind of spinny, out-this-world kind of moves. And I think Sage learned that now. I think he knows how to bring it down, go back to basics, keep the fundamentals. And I do see him just steamroll Gouti. Gouti gets cut, big whoop, no one's going to miss him. And it's a good one for Sage to get a confidence back and just to help build him a bit slower in this 155 division. You know, just give him the right kind of fights and he'll just slowly bring himself back up.
Yeah, I like the fact he's at Team Alpha Male. I think it's a good win for him. And if he can take his dad out of the picture a little bit, and Faber's going to put all that wisdom onto him, I think it's only going to really help him. So yeah. See, I'm not a fan of Sage Northcutt, but I am looking forward to him this weekend. I think he's a big opportunity to win this fight. I think he stops Gouti myself.
Oh, Mr. Martin, why are you not a big fan of me?
Yeah. I think he's probably the nicest guy in the world to me. I've never had the opportunity to meet him, but it's like he's just not my kind of cup of tea. But the guy's got some talent. He has got some talent.
He needs to eat some carbs. That's what he needs to eat.
Yeah, that's true. We were going to have a women's strawweight fight between Jessica Aguilar and Livia Souza. I was very heavy on Livia Souza. I was going to bet the house on Livia Souza. Looks like that fight's going to be rescheduled for UFC 222. So barring that one, we're moving on to the welterweight division. Thiago Alves against Curtis Millender. On you go.
Man, I'm a bit big up on Curtis Millender, mate. I think it's the end of it's come to the end of the road for Thiago Alves. I know he always talks about feeling great, looking great, and all this. He's always positive, but I think it's obvious that he's not the fighter of the run that got him to the shot against GSP. Nowhere near. That dude is long gone since. Like, he was terrifying back then. Terrifying. Like, he just had it all. Like, he was just this hurricane that you couldn't stop. But now he just looks, like you say, worn out, damaged goods. He just doesn't seem the same dude. Now he's fighting a guy in Curtis who, that guy can bang. And like, Thiago Alves will throw a kick. Curtis is going to throw kicks back, and he is so good with his counter kicks. Like, people, you've got to go and watch this guy. He's fun to watch. He's long, and I think Thiago's going to have a bit of a problem because Thiago's got to close that distance down to get in there for those strikes. You know, because Thiago obviously he'll want to throw the combination with his hands, but Curtis is going to have that reach, and he's going to, man, I can't wait. I think Curtis, I won't put it past him stopping Alves. You know, with a lovely counter kick to the head, putting Alves to sleep. Man, because Alves likes to go to war. We know he does. We know he'll bite down. He'll scrap. Man, I'm going to go with Curtis on this one. I'm going to go wild, outside the box. I think he's probably going to be a pretty big underdog as well. The odds, I haven't seen the odds for him, but if I'm going to have a few quid on anyone, I'd want to put on Curtis for a finish here. I want to go out there, man, and say it.
I think it's possible. I think that Thiago Alves, he hasn't fought that much in the last couple of years, and every time he gets into a fight week, something happens. He had the Mike Perry incident where he had the hurricane.
Which is fair enough.
Then he had the Zach Cummins incident where Zach slipped.
Banged his head.
Yeah, the day before the fight. So, and then he's getting this young, well, I shouldn't say young, he's 30 years old, but he's a guy that's got his opportunity. He fought very early on in Bellator, and he lost a couple of fights to a couple of decent guys.
But he won some good fights in there too.
Yeah, he beat Johnny Caceros, I remember that one. Lost to Fernando Gonzalez, Brennan Ward, so not bad guys. He's went on there, and then he's went on, beat Kevin Holland, who's a flashy kind of guy out there in the regionals. If you don't know Kevin Holland, get out there and watch him. He's faced a few of the guys that are actually on this card, and he's beat a few guys that are on this card as well. So he's fighting in Bellator in a few weeks as well. And his last two fights, he's starched as Curtis Millender. He's got that fast twitch reaction. He can get that head kick up before you know it. You'll see highlights of this guy with, like, he will go low and then he will go high with head kick. Now, has Thiago Alves seen guys like that in the past? You bet he has. He's been around for the longest time. I see Thiago start very quick. I see him outclassing him on the feet a little bit, but I think he will slow down and Curtis will come into it. So I find this a really, I'm like yourself, if he is an underdog in this one, which I expect him to be, and you have a couple of quid lying around, Curtis Millender might not be the worst dog bet this week. I think Thiago Alves is going to do enough to win 2 rounds. Not confident in it, but I'm going to pick Thiago Alves to win via decision. But like you said, I don't think Curtis Millender is that far off winning this fight personally. So Thiago for me, but not confident. Next up in the lightweight division, this is the fight I'm looking forward to, and a fighter I'm looking forward to seeing. The very underappreciated James Vick against the very hard-nosed Francisco Maceran Duba Trinaldo. Now, I don't know. I put a tweet earlier on today. I think he is one of the most underappreciated and unacknowledged fighters in the UFC lightweight division. The guy's on a serious win streak now. I know in between that he had a loss to Beneil Dariush.
Yes.
Dariush is a legit guy. He's a legit top 10 guy. So if you're facing guys from the top 10, you're going to lose fights. You're not going to beat every guy in that top 10. I don't think it's possible. Not
especially in the lightweight division. I think other divisions, as you go higher up, lower down, there's more of a chance. But when that it's too many sharks. It's too many sharks. Yeah. Yeah,
he's beat good fighters. Jake Matthews, who won last week. Jake Matthews looked like a kind of different fighter last week. He looked a lot better than he did.
Oh yeah.
First fight at 170.
I know. I'm glad I didn't put any money on Jingling.
Yeah, I did. But luckily, I never lost out on it because I won other bets. I was in Vegas for his fight against Clayco Franca. Franca's a big dude, like a big dude. The one thing that
so's James. He's 6'3". 6'3".
Yeah, James is a skeleton. And I seen James that week, and you could tell that the weight cut in the. See if they had a 165 division, this guy would be perfect for it. Perfect. Obviously he's got the hard task of making the weight. He is fighting in Texas, and he is facing a really hard-nosed guy. But he's facing a guy. I think he's the only guy that stepped up. Nobody wants to face James Vick because he doesn't bring much to the table. I don't think he's ranked yet, but he's a guy that true fans know is a really good fighter. I've seen a lot of people writing him off against Joseph Duffy. Joseph Duffy came out, he took him down a few times. I thought he looked good. but you cannot sleep on James Vick. He has big power, he has massive length, and he can put you out like he did in the Polo Reyes fight. Now, that was a fight I don't think should have happened, personally. The right fight was the Joseph Duffy fight, and he showed what he's worth. Personally, I thought he would main event this card. When I heard that they were going to Austin, Texas, I thought James Vick, if he's a ranked fighter, is a shoe-in to be the main event in this card. But they went a different way.
James Vick is... Sorry, mate. James Vick is ranked number 12.
So he is ranked. So I tried not to look at the rankings as much, but nice to see him ranked. But nobody in the top 10 was wanting to fight this guy. Nobody was wanting to fight him. Michael Kaiser turned him down. I'm sure Anthony Pettis turned him down as well. Masvidal will fight anybody. He's coming over here to America, which you don't really see him come out of Brazil all too often. Last time he did, he beat Charlie Please. I think that James Vick's going to be too long. He just has to really survive the first round, where Ronaldo's going to be at his strongest, have the most more energy. But I think eventually James Vick will win, and output and his beautiful jab is going to really put it on Ronaldo. And I think in those later rounds he can find a finish here. So I'm picking James Vick. I think I might go early third round TKO because Masvidal is a tough guy to finish. But I'm going to go with James Vick here to keep on rolling, and hopefully he gets that fight he deserves against a top level guy in the top 10.
Man, it's a hard fight to pick this, because Ronaldo is tough. Like, he'll take a lick, but that dude keeps coming. Like, he's very readable. He will throw a clubbing overhand right to close the distance, to go for the takedown, to get you down. Then he starts to rock his little world a bit, and he's happy to go down the ground, and that's where he wants to be. But his stand-up isn't awful. But like you say, it's those long fighters, but they're more susceptible for the takedowns. So that's the issue you've got. And I think James Vick is one of them guys who is susceptible to the takedown. I see this being I'm going to go decision. Because I think Ronaldo can get James Vick down. I really do. But I don't know if he can keep him down. That's the thing. I don't know if it's going to be like a watching Prazares, where he's just too big and bulky, like a short, stumpy bulk, just awkward to get rid of. But I'm going to go with James Vick. Decision. But I mean, I'm on the fence. I'd even be happy to say split decision, man. I think this is a tough-ass fight to call, because Ronaldo takes a lick, but he just throws so wild. He makes guys put their hands up, because he can hit hard. He comes in to swing hard to set that takedown up, and he makes guys put their hands up to get the takedown. Yeah, split. I go wild and go split decision, James. I think it's super tight. I think Ronaldo might even get a split decision himself. I don't see there being a... Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough one.
I mean, Ronaldo's only 2 losses in the last 4 years.
That's what I mean.
Michael Chiesa. His last 2 losses are Michael Chiesa and Kevin Lee. Both good guys, both really good guys. And he's got wins over Paul Felder, Yancy Medeiros, Charlie Please. They're all pretty serviceable and solid fighters.
He was doing well against Kevin Lee as well.
He was. He fades. And
James Vick, he does fade. Yeah, he does. Yeah.
James Vick can go hard for 15 minutes, and we've seen in the Jake Matthews fight that if you get tangled up with this guy, his limbs are that long that he can lock stuff up. Whether he can do that with Ronaldo is a different matter, but nice to see James. I'm a fan of James Vick. I have been for a long time. Hopefully
awesome dude, yeah, awesome.
So yeah, co-main event of the night: Derek the Black Beast Lewis against Marcin Tybura. Interesting matchup. Where are you going?
Mate, I love Derek Lewis just as a person. I think it's impossible not to like him. He's just hilarious on his social media and stuff like that. He just doesn't care. But Lewis has got a hard fight, man. He has got a hard fight in his hands, because Tybura is one of them. I think Tybura is one of the unspoken heavyweights. You know, he doesn't do a lot in fights where I think people like. What I mean by that is, it's not like he's doing these massive, spectacular finishes that everyone's going, wow, like a Ngannou Overeem. He's not doing an Ngannou Overeem finish. And that's the only thing. I think that's what's missing from his repertoire, where people kind of look past him. But this dude went 5 rounds with Fabrizio Verdun. Now, Fabrizio said he didn't go 100% in that fight, didn't let it all hang out, so to speak, and all this jazz, and whatever excuse he wants to use. But still, if I'm Tybura, I went 5 rounds with Verdum. I lasted. I got some shots in. I lost some shots. Either way, I still had a good fight. Like that's a big step up as well. It's not like he went and like had like 10 fights in the UFC to get to there. He had like, it was a pretty decent. He had a pretty steep climb. You know, even though he fought Andrei Arlovski as well, and even though Arlovski's a bit shot by now, I think Tybura mixes his stuff up really well compared to Lewis, where Lewis is a pretty, you know what Lewis is going to do. He's pretty readable. I'm going to go with Tybura on this one. I just think he's got way more in his back pocket than Lewis has, and I think because he went, like he showed, he went those rounds with Verdum. I think Tybura's got the conditioning a bit better. Like, don't get me wrong, heavyweights don't have conditioning, but I think he can go a bit more in 3 rounds than Derek Lewis can. So yeah, I'm gonna go wild and go Tybura. Do I say stoppage? Because Lewis got stopped by Mark Hunt, didn't he? So is that going to affect Mark? Is that going to? I got Tybura decision. Just more of an output.
Yeah, I'm with you on Tybura. I think he's made a lot of improvements since coming to the UFC. Personally, I thought the fight with Verdum is a high echelon, upper echelon fighter in the UFC heavyweight division. He's one of the best that's ever been in the heavyweight division.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I thought he held his own pretty well. A little bit outclassed at times, but I thought he did very, very well. And what we've seen from Derek Lewis, he talked about retirement. He's a huge hitter. He's got some. If this guy gets you in mount, you are completely fucked. You are going to get absolutely blasted out of there. But when you go back and watch his fights, Shabila Abdurakhimov, even the Roy Nelson one, I thought he should have lost that fight. Shabila Abdurakhimov, he lost the first 3 rounds, then got in top position in the 4th and knocked him out. Then Travis Brown, he was taking shots in that Travis Brown fight.
Yeah.
He was legit hurt in that fight. So went down.
It was the body shots, wasn't it? Wasn't it the body shots?
And one thing Tybura does, he swings hard body kicks.
And head kicks. He's got surprisingly good head kicks. That dude's flexible.
He's got a really good kicking game.
Yeah.
And I think if this stays a striking battle, I think that Marcin Tybura is the more. He changes up. He's got more in his arsenal than what Derek Lewis has. Yeah. He just tries to throw heavy hands. He's not going to look for a takedown, I don't think. And I think Tybura, if he did, Tybura could stop him. And I think if it's a stand-up battle, I think that Tybura has more tools to win across the 3 rounds. So I like Tybura here because I just think that sometimes Derek Lewis is really funny. He's a really funny guy to follow on social media. And he just seems like a kind of cool guy to kind of be around. But I think as a fighter, I think we've seen his level. He's not a top 5 heavyweight. He's in maybe a top 10 guy. But I think Tybura has the potential to be a top 5 guy if he can keep progressing what he's doing. I think he's at Jackson Winklejohns as well.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so that's exactly. They're my bad one at the minute. But I like Tybura a little bit more. I think he's just the more well-rounded, better fighter at this point. But yeah, moving on.
I'd like Derek Lewis to lose because then you could do Ngannou versus Lewis because they're both coming off a loss.
Yeah, well, I think the winner of this fight goes on to face Curtis Blades in Chicago if Curtis Blades signs with the UFC again.
Potential number one contender shot maybe.
Just looking at where the division is, I can't see.
I know.
Curtis Blades facing Cain Velasquez, and obviously we're having DC and Stipe. Ngannou's not going to fight him again. Overeem could fight Blades, but I think the winner, Lewis and Tybura, could move on to face him in Chicago back in June if both guys are fit. So
I don't think Blades would be a good fight for Overeem. Oof, that would not be nice. Oof, that would be not a good one to come back to. No, thank you. But yeah, man, Tybura, defo.
Yeah.
Good choice.
So moving on, main event time. Donald Cowboy Cerrone against Yancy Mederios in a really fun fight, but one that I have absolutely no idea who to go with, and I've been going back and forward pretty much all day. I've watched fights all day with these two. I watched the Yancy Medeiros fights probably 7 o'clock, sorry it was, and I mean he's on a great run since he went up to 170. He looks a different fighter than he did at 155. Obviously not having to make that weight cut has been awesome for him. Wins over Sean Spencer, Eric Silva, and Alex Oliveira in his last 3 fights, and he's looked like that fight with Oliveira was an absolute beast of a fight. Both guys came forward, were throwing heavy leather, both guys went down. I thought personally that Alex Oliveira had won the first 2 rounds of that fight. It was very close, second round was, I thought. Eric Silva was kind of piecing Yancy up a little bit, which I totally forgot about before he caught him with a massive left hand and like poleaxed Eric Silva. The thing is with Cowboy, I think there's clear signs that he is moving back in his career, and against these guys that throw heavy leather and throw a lot as well. Yancy throws a lot of strikes per minute in the UFC in these rounds that he throws in. Both guys, I think, are very, very can get hurt to the body. I think you can attack them. I think that Cerrone, that has to be a game plan for him here. I think you can hurt Yancy with he doesn't really check leg kicks, and when you teep him to the body, he covers up a lot. Alex Oliveira was like spamming like teep kicks and body kicks and trying to hurt him, and you could see they were hurting him a little bit. But Cowboy, I think, is on the decline a little bit. To me, I have, like I said, I don't have a fucking clue which way I'm going to go with this fight. I think that Yancy Medeiros shouldn't be as big an underdog as he is right now, because Cerrone, I think, has shown signs of depletion a little bit. In saying that, Darren Till is a big heavy hitter, Robbie Lawler, a big heavy hitter, Jorge Masvidal, a big heavy hitter as well. It's hard for me to. I'm going to go with my initial gut feeling, and I'm going to go with Cowboy. But it's hard. Honestly, it's hard to see where he's. Could he stop Yancy? He could. I think if it went to the ground, I think both guys are both really good down there, that they counteract one another. So if I'm going with a kind of more positioned striker in Cowboy, which he is, over a guy that's a little bit more wild and a little bit more of a brawler in Yancy, I'm going to go with the guy who's a little bit more technical, but both guys can be hurt, both guys can be taken out. I think I am not confident, but I'm picking Donald Cerrone 60, like 51-49, pretty much a 50-50 toss-up fight.
It is horrible to break that down. I like, he's on a 3-fight losing streak, Cowboy. Right, I just said that out loud. Cowboy is on a 3-fight losing streak. That is weird to say that out loud, right? Yancy's on a 3-fight win streak. So, like, if you look at performances, like you say, one's coming up, one's going down. I think the problem Cerrone's got is he's a slow starter. And Yancy, you know, he's got that output. He'll just start banging, stop going. I'm going to go with Yancy. Do you know what? I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to go with Yancy. I just think, like you say, I think it's going to get a bit wild. I think they're going to just, I think it might be a bit of a gum shield, bit of bite down, and the two of them are going to start swinging at each other. And I'm going to go with Yancy just coming out the victor in that kind of just absolute all-out war. Yeah, I just see it just going absolutely bonkers. I think Cerrone, like you said, I just worry about. I know he said he has a break and he's having to stop and then coming back and looking at. I don't know how much more he can take. Like, Cerrone's just fought for so long. Your body eventually just says, nah, no more. And I don't know if that's maybe the sign that Cerrone's having at the moment. Yeah.
The thing is with Yancy as well, he only had that fight at UFC 218 in December. So he's only had a 2-month break, and that was a war in that fight. He got dropped. Yeah. He got hit with a lot of shots in that one. I did a Twitter poll earlier on to see, because like 9 hours ago I put this out, to see what the fight fans out there, where they were in this fight. Because I still thought it was a toss-up 9 hours ago. I'm still no further forward than it was. And I thought, like, who are you picking to win? It's had 184 votes, and 58% are going with Yancy to 42 for Cowboy. So people are going with underdog in this one. So
that's still tight. That's still tight.
Yeah, it's still fairly tight. I think it's a close fight. I couldn't throw my money. I think if you're going to throw your money, throw it in underdog. But honestly, I have no confidence.
Horrible, isn't it? Horrible.
I have no confidence in that fight whatsoever. So that is UFC Fight Night 126, UFC Austin in the books. I think we're going to move on to my bets, are we?
Yep.
Which I have one that I'm thinking about, which I'm pretty strong at, and there's a couple. Obviously, we haven't got lines out, so
we've only got 3 fights. 3 fights have only got them. That's
right. The one bet that I am looking at, still haven't committed to it, is Marcin Tybura. I think he is in one of the cards over here. He's -115. That's a great bet.
Yeah. I've got -118 here, and then another site's got him down as -155.
Right. So yeah, different. We've got better odds than what America has at the minute, which is a lot. Like, that's a big difference going from 155 to -115 to -118. That's one I'm looking at. I haven't laid my money down on it yet. The other one is I'm hoping to play James Vick and Sage Northcutt in a parlay, and hopefully that puts in. So, but honestly, there's not. Livia Souza was going to be my big bet for this card if she was here. I can't bet the main event because it's just coin flip for me. The other fights I'm looking at, maybe a little bit of action, is Jeff Neal, if he gets a decent line. Alex Morono, obviously you have to look at him against someone like Josh Buckman, but I think his line's going to be massive. But right now, they're the kind of bets I'm looking at. Sage and James Vick are the two, if I can get decent odds.
So what about wild fights? If you had to pick like two, even one, pick one out there bet. Like if you said one bet that would be probably good odds and it's a bit out there, what would you? Is there any you'd go for? Like I'm just like thinking like something like Tybura submission. Do you know what I mean? Like, is there anything out there you think?
Yeah.
Just one to look out, see if there are any good odds for it. Here you go. Here's one here.
I think for sure. I think by submission. I think that could be a bet that could very much happen, and it could be really good odds as well. Jared Gordon via stoppage.
Yeah,
will be another one. So because I think Ferreira is very tough, but I think that Jared Gordon just has that pace. He could stop guys very, very easily.
The odds on Paddy Power for Derek Lewis and Tybura, mate. I don't know what this is. Here we go. My Tybura's 4-6. And Lewis is 11-10.
Right, okay, that's a bit higher, yeah. Right, yeah. So Tybura's a pretty big favourite with them. Yeah, I think that the other kind of fights I'm looking at. Tybura is one I'm definitely looking at. I've got to really make my mind up whether I'm going to jump on that or not. But I am waiting for the other odds to come out. But it's a Sunday card, so they might be out later. But the guys I mentioned are the people I'm kind of looking at strongly for bets. Is Sage, James Vick. I don't think a bad bet would be Sage Northcutt in the first round.
I'm thinking first round, yeah.
Thibault Gouti can be hit, and he can be hit hard. So that's the kind of guys I'm looking at. Sage Northcutt, James Vick, and Jeff Neal's another one I'm kind of looking at. But until the odds come out, then I'll lay down some coin later in the week probably.
Okay, I like those. So last but not least, my friend, we shall go to the questions. Okay, bro. So here we go. Let me get onto Twitter. Just give me a moment. Let me get to the first question, which is somewhere along here. Oh, here we go. So Christopher Smith had a couple of questions for us. His Twitter handle is @csmith, like C for Charlie, Smith_UK. All right, so with middleweight division in limbo, nothing much happening at 170, and failed weight cuts across 185 and 155, like over those three weight classes, is now not the best time for a UFC to launch 4 weight classes, 4 8-man Grand Prix for 165, 175, 185, and 195, with the winner getting undisputed title and $1 million. Now, and he says, obviously his comment after is, I know people are against having too many weight classes, but would it not be better having more competitive divisions with more undisputed titles per year than watered down cards with meaningless fights for interim belts, plus the benefit of not cutting much weight? So, it's not a bad idea. The tournament thing is what the UFC was founded on, the tournament system. I think they wouldn't do that. They would probably do Ultimate Fighter. Odds of that, they would probably do an Ultimate Fighter for it, kind of like they have done with the strawweight and the flyweight and stuff like that, women's thing. I think they might try and do something like that if they were to ever introduce it. Now, I know Dana's against the weight cut, and this is when the UFC just are stubborn and stupid, in my opinion. they need to have a couple more weight classes. They just can't. 185 and 205, it's £20. It's absolutely ridiculous. You look at Luke Rockhold, 195 might be a perfect weight cut for him. Do you know, it's just... I think they need those. I think there should be more weight classes, 100%. I think 155, 165, 175, 185, 195, 205, and then 225, 100% should be thrown into an M1, an M165, or even like even 270. You know, but they should definitely have a couple more. They should definitely throw in more weight classes. I don't think it's too many weight classes at all. No. I don't think there's no such thing as too many weight classes. You might even get a couple more 2-division champs in there as well, but I definitely think there should be more.
Yeah, but if you're going to be adding weight divisions like the women's featherweight division for one fighter, where you can add a division like 165 where you're getting some of the cream of the crop from 170 and 155, that division is going to be that division is going to be serious. You're going to have people like Khabib coming in there. You're going to have people like Tyron Woodley that's going to be moving down to 165. You're going to it's so, to me, it makes no sense why you don't add more divisions. The whole weight cutting thing, to me, I hate it. I know it's been around and it's been the same thing in the sport for a while, but we're getting we need to get serious with it now. People are having really bad, drastic weight cuts. People are just hurting themselves, and I don't like it. I think there is room for new fight weight divisions personally. 165 is a must, I think. 175, yeah, you could do it. 195, 225 is one I've always liked. See if you can get the guys down from heavyweights, the guys that are 240, and make that because what Luke Rockhold must be walking around at least
215, 220.
220. That's what I was thinking.
Has to be. So I walk around about 215, 220, and I'll be going down to 185.
Yeah,
and it's
195 would be an easy cut for him. He wouldn't have to kill himself. Romero would be an easy cut for that guy. I just think I don't think it's a bad idea having new weight classes and having a Grand Prix type thing to make these new champions. But you're going to have more bigger fights. You could have champion v champion fights. I just think, but it's at the end of the day, Dana's the one that makes all the decisions. I think he's making wrong decisions by not having more weight divisions, but he's too stubborn. But he was stubborn. Eventually it might change. He was stubborn with the women until eventually that kind of broke in, and Ronda broke that whole mold. And I don't know, I just hopefully we do that, because the weight cutting, I've never cut weight in my life, and I will never cut weight, because that's just I love eating and I'm going to eat. I'm never going to lose weight for that shit. So but if you're a professional fighter, you're going in there in a fist fight, but before that you've got a fight to make the weight. And if you're cutting 20-30 pounds in a week, it's not on for me. So but then it's on the fighters to fight at the weight classes that are going to be healthier for them. But I want more weight divisions personally.
I went down to 170, like I said, bro. I went down to 170. I had to lie down on the floor because I was doing the bath. I did the bath bit, to cut weight in the bath, and then when I got out of the bath, I couldn't physically walk because I was so lightheaded. I was felt like I was gonna pass out. My body was giving up on me, so I had to lie down next to the bath for a few minutes to get the energy just to get up to go to the sofa. I got just a mess of human being. Here you go. So, also added finally idea of a 4 UFC Grand Prix in a 15-month window would be hugely beneficial for helping some of the Fight Night cards, as it'd be tournament fights in co-main event positions, as opposed to the recent trend of watered down weak headline of Fight Night cards. So next question we have, where are we? Here we go. Our buddy here, Matthew Hawkins, who's at Coot66Hawk, popping in. He said, more weight classes and more restriction weigh-in standards need to be implemented, in my opinion. I see some pros, but not many cons. Thoughts? Look, we've had a comment back on this again from Chris Marsden. Sorry. It's at C Marsden 24. His reply on that was 100% fighters should be weighed 16 weeks before a fight. and are restricted to losing so much percentage every few weeks, there would be a lot less missed weight. If they could lose 5% in the first 4 weeks, and they hadn't, we know they couldn't make weight if they lost 1%. So it's kind of like the ONE FC. It's not ONE FC now, is it? It's just one, isn't it? They call themselves whatever the fuck it is. But the weight cutting, the whole weight cutting debacle is the water. It's all about hydration. The hydration test in wrestling in the US that they do, that's a big key. If you do the hydration test on a lot of the fighters, you can get a gauge on their weight classes. And I think if the UFC did that, they would realize a lot more fighters actually shouldn't be fighting in certain weight classes that they're already in. And you'd see, hopefully, a change. Like one, I don't know if the UFC has seen if ONE FC's implementation works, but I think they should be implementing this straight away. I think they should, right, okay, not 16 weeks before a fight, though, because I could have 2 weeks. I could have 2 fights, in 16 weeks. That's two 8-week fight camps. I could have two fights. Even I could have I could 6-week camps, 6, 8, 12, bang, 3 fights. I think, if you sign a dotted line to have a fight, I think you should do a measurement of your weight class. If you sign to the UFC, when you first sign up, and you say, right, I'm a welterweight, and they go, right, okay, let's do a hydration test. No, son, you're a middleweight. Then that's what should be happening. And then you can, maybe 6 months into your career, they test you again to make sure, because if you really want to fight welterweight, you maybe have to get your body weight down a little bit more, and they retest you. I think that might be an idea. But what's your thoughts, Will, on the kind of weight cutting kind of testing maybe, or restrictions in there?
Well, I think the California Commission, they actually do it right. I remember the Jones and the DC fight where they did them 16 weeks out, 8 weeks they had to be a certain weight, 4 weeks they had to be a certain weight, and then obviously I think they did it afterwards where you couldn't be a certain weight for the fight. So I like that. I think that's the implementation that we should use. Now that's a lot of hard work to get other commissions to sign on to do that, especially when you're in Europe and you're in Australia and you're in Brazil. That's hard to do, but I like that personally. I think that's safer. And what I like about California is if you miss the weight, they force you to move up in weight. Like they're going to do it with Michel Pesares. He has to move up to 170 because he's constantly missing weight and he's having humongous advantages over fighters on Fight Night. Yeah. So, that is something. I think the California way is the perfect way to do it, in my opinion, right now. Like we were saying, more weight classes, just to have guys more healthier when they get in the cage. And I just really love the California way, the way they do it. I think the guys, they have you at that weight. You can't be a certain percentage over that weight, or they will pull you from the fight. So that you have to get your diet in check very quickly. None of this like panic weight cutting where you're cutting so much weight on fight week. Yeah. I really like that way. Hopefully it leans more towards that. I think that Dana White's spoke about it. They're doing it right, but other commissions. I think it's for California. I think they're a big commission. They make quite a bit of money. Where the smaller commissions, they probably can't do stuff like that. But that's kind of where I go with that.
The last kind of comment on that one is from a Mr. E. Twitter handle is at 770 SRE join. His comment about this whole weight cut shenanigans that we're all having kind of thoughts on. He says, one thing I agree with Dana is on that adding more divisions won't help weight cuts. I agree. Guys will always try to make a little bit more if they can. Fighters will try to game the system. Here we go. The real solution is weighing 48 hours before the fight and allowing IVs again. So the IV thing, though, just letting you know, there was no evidence that benefited anyone. There was no actual physical proof, because a lot of it, people said it was a placebo thing where you thought you were getting better, and the tests have shown that physical drinking is more effective than actually IVs. But again, I think, like you say, that California style, because there's no commission in the UK, so if they can find something to do in the UK, say if MMA could get involved in some way, that'd be good. Where's that other question? Here we go. A question from Andreas, who is whose Twitter handle is Andre M, so M for Mike, and Giorgio He's got his own YouTube channel, so check him out as well, folks. Get onto his YouTube channel as well. Check his videos out. He does like UK scene as well, little interviews and all that jazz. Definitely worth keeping tabs on. So, his question though, Will, is Israel Adesanya the next fighter to fall victim to the hype train?
I think he's a really good addition to the middleweight division. I think if the UFC can put him in the right fights, they've got themselves a star. But he's going to get bigger step ups than Rob Wilkinson. He did everything perfect in that fight. He got taken down. He showed he can get back up against guys that can hold you down. He might struggle. When he was getting interviewed after he won his fight, he absolutely nailed it with what he was saying. You're going to have guys calling him out. I can guarantee it. You're going to have guys that are going to be turning him down, like he said, because he is one of those fighters. You don't know what you're going to get with him. But I still think he needs work. But I hope the UFC build him the right way. They give him the right matchup, give him strikers, because he will have showcase knockouts. I have no doubt about it if you give him the right matchup. But I think eventually people are going to be on a hype train with this kid. If he does get that 3, 4, 5 wins in the UFC, people are going to be jumping. I'm going to be one of those ones that's going to be a little bit sceptical always, I think, because he is coming predominantly from a striking background, and there is a lot of high-level kind of wrestling guys in that middleweight division. So, really exciting fighter. Happy he's in the UFC. Glad we'll get to see more of him, but I'm not on the train.
Yeah, I have to say, it's very much a case of how will the UFC advertise him? How will they promote him is a big key, because the hype train only comes from the UFC promotion. Like you say, your Sage Northcutt, your Francis Ngannou's, that's all like Paige Van Zandt. That's UFC pushing. I hope that they've learnt their lessons. I highly doubt they will have learnt their lessons, because the UFC just milk a cow until it's dry and then they're done with it and get rid of it. And that's what I feel they might do here. They might make the most they can with this lad, give him a few matchups which suit him, but then he'll eventually have to fight someone who is a test, who is a guy that will push in. I think that wrestling game and grappling is really going to play a big part, especially because he's, like you say, he makes 185 really easy. I worry that he'll fight a real 185er and he will just outpower him. Just too much strength, too much on him. Like Kelvin Gastelum, I think right now would be a horrible matchup for him, because Kelvin is quick and got strong grappling. But obviously that's way too early in my opinion for that fight to even think about happening, or even to consider it. So I think it's early days for him. But yeah, I think if the UFC push him, I think we're going to see another hype train fall down. And that's all the questions, bro.
Alright, so that's us, I think, for another week. I think we'll be back, we'll definitely be back next week, and that is UFC on Fox, Emmett versus Stevens. So,
hell of a card. Oh my gosh, what a good card.
And that'll be on early as well. That's going to be like a 8:30 start on the Saturday night, because it's a Fox card, which is always decent. Josh Emmett against Jeremy Stevens, Andrade against Torres, OSP Latifi, Mike Perry's on there. There's some good fights on there, and there's a lot of good fights actually in the UFC Fight Pass portion. So, as always, come and subscribe. The last thing that we should be saying is come and subscribe across all the formats that we are. If you have any questions for us, get them in at any time. You can follow us on Twitter at MMA Huddle. You can follow me personally at Will Martin MMA. You can follow John. I think it's John Ferguson. What is it, MMA?
I'm going to fucking clue my Twitter handle is. I'm terrible.
Just put them in there. You'll find them. But just if questions anytime at all, just pop them in. We'll get them we'll look back at them. And Jimmy the Drunk, I think we were talking about.
We are going to do it, Jimmy. Yeah, we are.
I think when's the next break we get? So we've got Verdun. So after UFC 222, we've got 2 weeks off. I think the middle one there, like the 10th.
And then after the London one.
Yeah, then we can break off and do that. So Jimmy, we haven't forgot about your questions, brother.
Yeah.
But until then, until next week, guys, thank you as always for tuning in and listening to us two just rant about the sport that we love. And we'll be back next week. Take care. Enjoy the fights this upcoming weekend.